Welcome back to another episode of the Burn Factory podcast.
To our acronym. So we use the acronym BURN. So each letter is like a little different time in your life. So B does stand for beginning. You're talking about your childhood, but what were some of those like burn moments that you had as a child that you had to go through, or else you wouldn't be sitting here today?
To be honest with you, I think my burn moments start like later when I'm started to be by myself. And for example, when I got my daughter, because when I was a child, everything was kind of easy. I don't want to say I was rich because now it's not the case, hopefully. But I mean, I never had like a really problems or necessities. I always had like food in my table. I got like good gifts in Christmas, whatever, you know. But I think when I start to see my future, because I remember this, I was very young. And I decided to be a fighter. And it's weird because, you know, you are 16, 17, and maybe you're not thinking too much about the future. Like, let's see what happens. Just let's get fun. And yeah, I was a child. I was getting fun. But at the same time, I was start to get more and more love for the sport, you know. I married very young with my wife. Right now, is still my wife. She passed with a lot of bad moments with me, so that's why I love her. But we got our first daughter. I had 20 years old, and everything started to change. And I'm jumping moments, but I mean, you told me about the burn moments. Everything started like that because I remember before my daughter, in my mind, I was a kid. I love to do stupid jokes or whatever, just enjoying life. But when I was in the hospital and the nurse take me to the place with all the babies, and I saw my daughter there, something happened in my mind, like something explode, like fuck, like this is serious, this is real. Like now it's not just me. Now it's not like whatever happens in the future. Now I need to get success, because if I don't get success, my wife, my daughter don't get success too. So that changed my mind for sure.
100%. Was there, going back to whenever you were a kid, was there a certain person that made you want to fight?
No. So, for example, I had a neighbor who he was practicing karate, regular karate, and one day I went to his home to sleep there with him, you know, playing video games, eat junk food, and then go to the bed. So before that, I went to one of his practice. And I saw, you know, all the discipline, the respect, the gi. I don't know how you say in English. Gi, right?
Yeah, gi.
The gi for karate. The belts, the colors of the belts. You know, be very respectful in the moment when you step on the mat. Be very respectful with the coach, the professor, and all that stuff. And that's why I decided to do combat sports, because I wanted to do sports. But that's why I think I decided to go for combat sports. So next day I went with my mom, like, hey mom, I wanna do something, you know, I wanna do some exercise, I wanna do some sport, to do something after the school, because I'm done to just go to my room, watch TV, play video games, and eat cookies. That's it for me. So first of all, I tried to practice capoeira. I don't know if you never played this video game Tekken.
Taken?
Yeah, it's a fight video game.
Never
I
heard
don't
of
think
it.
so.
No,
No.
man, it's amazing.
We'll have to try it out though.
We should.
It's a new one coming soon.
Oh, really?
The Tekken 8. It's really good.
They made 7 of them.
Yep.
Oh my
Man,
God.
it's a really famous video game. It's really cool. I started to play that video game when it's the PlayStation 1. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I remember like the little Nintendos. Did you ever play those?
Yes,
Like
of course.
Nintendos.
You are 16?
I'm 16.
You are
19.
19?
19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like we are at a different season, but it's fine.
I know. We're a
all
little
messed
young.
up, and yeah.
Yeah. But so like back to what you were saying, you started out as MMA was just exercise for you, but
Yeah.
what was that point that you're like, you know what, maybe I could make a career out of this?
So going a little bit back, so we don't find nothing about capoeira in Tijuana. I don't remember if my mom doesn't find like any place or the place was bad. I don't know, but we find the mixed martial art gym. And everything was crazy. And in that moment, I don't know nothing about jiu-jitsu, about wrestling, kickboxing, whatever. But everything was nice because the how you say in English, the billboard, the spectacular,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the sign.
looks very very cool. You know,
Sign,
with
yeah.
with the cage and the blood and all this stuff. Like, oh, okay. And the name was in that moment the people talk about mixed martial art as vale todo.
Ballet todo.
Vale todo is obviously is in Spanish, but that means in English like everything is permitted, like kind of.
Like it's good. Like
No. How you say, like you can do everything.
oh, okay. So like no like restrictions.
No
almost,
restrictions, kind of.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
So that was crazy, and I start to do it, but I start to see all the discipline, all
Yeah.
the respect, all the hard work you need to do to improve your skills. So I'm start 12. I start my amateur career at 14. I had a long amateur career. I had 3 years as an amateur, and I got a lot of success. Then I decided to do my professional debut in Tijuana at 17 years old. And that's it, man. I started to just love the sport. In some point, I was my how you say, my qualification in the school. I was
certifications?
No, like what is it
my
called?
results in the school.
Oh, okay,
Start
yeah,
to go
like your
very
grades.
My grades
Grades,
start
yeah.
to go
Oh.
very down
Yeah.
because I mean, you know, the regular kids who say like, start to put a lot of excuses. I don't like the school because da. But I mean, I was being really honest with my parents. Hey, I don't like this. I prefer to be in the gym all day.
Yeah.
You know, so I was putting all my effort to be better in the sport.
At 12?
No. I mean, with the passage with the time.
Oh,
you know?
okay. As time came on.
I started at 12. I started my amateur career at 14, and then at 17 I did my professional debut. I don't know, like around 18, 19. I say like, you know what? I want to do this.
This is
That's cool.
What was the name of the fight league where you had your first professional fight?
It's a local league in Tijuana, UWC. I started there. I had 3 fights there, and then I started to fight in the United States, actually in California. Okay. I fought the first fight I had in California was in Riverside.
Okay.
Yeah, I fought in Riverside. I fought in Pomona.
Okay.
Yeah, between them. Then I went to Albuquerque, New Mexico for the developer program from the UFC. I went there to Jackson's MMA. A lot of fighters from there, like John Jones.
Yeah, John Jones was there.
In that moment was Kobe Cerrone, Diego Sanchez, and another guys, John Dodson. So yes, I was there for 5 months. Then I came back. All my training partners from Latin America, because it was a developer programs, right? Like 12 guys from Latin America, UFC paid them to come to the United States and train, you know, and develop all the abilities of the fighters. So I was part of the 12 guys. I stayed there by 5 months. Then the other guys, because they are like older than me, in that moment I had 20 years old. So all my training partners went to the Ultimate Fighter Latin America, the first season. But because I had 20 years old and they have a lot of sponsors of alcohol and that stuff, I wasn't permitted to go there.
Yeah.
So I came back to Tijuana, and then some guy got fights for me in Arizona, in Phenix. Phoenix, Tucson. Yeah, between Phoenix and Tucson. I keep doing more fights there.
So as an early pro, like as you turned pro that early, like your early fights, was it a lot of like bouncing around promotions, or did you just kind of stick to one like promotion? Like
no, in that moment was because it was the only professional league in my hometown. You know.
Oh, it was with.
I don't have option. And
yeah.
It was like, if you wanna fight, the only fights are there
okay.
in that league. So that's why.
Did you have dreams making it to the UFC at that point?
Oof, good question. My first goal was to make a good record. So I always try to put some targets in my life. You know, I think in short period, my first goal was to make a nice record, because when I started to be a professional, I was very young. I had a really good technique, but I was very young, and I was fighting against guys like stronger than me, bigger than me, with better body, whatever. So in that point, when the guys has a good level, the strength, the power is important too. Because you hear this, the technique is more important than the strength, and that's true. When the other guy doesn't know nothing, but when two guys know the same, those small difference, make the difference. Okay,
Which is it's crazy now, because I feel like every year, like the UFC, like are bringing in these younger and younger guys. And you look at Raul Rosas now; he's 18, fighting against 25, 26-year-olds. Like that's crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's my training partner, Raul, and it's insane how good he is. Like, he's very tough. I mean, to be honest with you, I think he needs a little bit more time to start to think about championships or whatever. But I mean, he has the time. He has all the time in front of him. He just needs to be patient. He just needs to be very open mind and start to get more experience, and that's it. But I mean, if the guy keeps the same way, he will be champion for sure.
Do you think he'll be champion by 20? How
do you say?
So
18,
right now
he's
18.
22. Do you think he'll be champion by the time he's 22?
Oof. 22. 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years.
Terrible in math. Sorry.
Me too. Me too. I'm awful at math. 4 years.
4 years. Maybe, man. If not champion, maybe
Close.
very close. Like fighting against top 10, top 5 opponents.
We were actually at his last fight. It was here in Vegas,
Yes.
December 10th. And I'll never forget, I was sitting in the stands and I was like, I like this kid. This kid has something about him that I like, and it reminds me of Brandon Moreno. And I was like, yep, he'll be champion one day. No, 100%. So.
Yeah, man. I mean, if he keeps the same path, I mean, he will be champion for sure. And he has this crazy confidence on himself. Like, he grabbed the mic and, hey, I want to do this and this and this, and everybody listens. So that's an important skills. I think even me, I don't have that skill to show to the people, but I mean, he's the full package for sure.
Confidence is key in fighting. I mean, you saw with McGregor and Jones and DC, and these guys just go on these crazy tears, and confidence is key. Same with golf. In golf, you can't go into a tournament not confident, because then you're going to play bad. I'm sure you can't go into a fight not confident, because you're going to make these mistakes and end up getting caught, and all she wrote.
Yeah, I mean, you need to be calm in uncomfortable moments, right? Obviously, I don't know too much about golf, but I mean, when you start to go to high level, you need to be just calm when you feel all the pressure. I mean, right now, for example, every single fight, I have 2 years in a row fighting for titles.
Yeah.
So, man, always the pressure is more and more and more. And, man, you need to keep calm, and you need to feel the pressure, but at the same time, like, manage that pressure well, because, I mean, it's hard. It's hard.
What's a burn moment? What's like a good burn moment in trying to keep yourself being calm in those situations?
Like kind of like every single time, for example, like
Yeah, or like a fight. Like whenever you're in the back room and you're just like, man, I'm starting to feel the pressure of this fight. What do you do? Like, what's a burn moment that you know what? I'm gonna stay calm. Like,
so I just you know what? I just trying to listen to myself. And I remember this before to got caught from the UFC. I was trying to enjoy the moment, to enjoy the pressure in the locker room. For example, I was trying to fake a smile, and I say fake because you know what? You feel so nervous. You feel even scared.
Mm-hmm.
You know, man. Since this moment, I feel scared in every single of my fights. But I was trying to smile to the people, to try to make them feel better. I don't know why, because I mean, in that moment, it's my moment. I just want to make me feel good myself. But you know, and I was going like that to the fight, and that works in some point, but when I start to fight with higher level opponents, that stop to work for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy because being like an outsider watching your fights, you look so calm in them. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think I managed very well all the pressure, you know.
Yeah.
100%.
But I mean, every single each moment I manage the moment different. So like that. I think that's my first season in the UFC. So the second season, after to go back to the UFC, I put this kind of character like Matt Brandon Moreno, like no more smile,
Killer.
nothing. I was going like very angry to the octagon, right, to the fight, and that works in some point too, because I start to win fights and win fights and win fights. I remember my first fight against Kai Kara France. Man, in that moment I was on fire, man. My mind was like, man, I want to kill this guy. You know, I want to kill this guy because I need to show to the people I deserve to be here. You know, I need to show to the crowd, to the fans, to everybody. I mean, I'm a real fighter. No, I'm not just a casualty in life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. And then I think my next evolution is, I don't know, be just like stoic, like neutral. My last fight in Rio de Janeiro, man, was
crazy.
Was insane, man. I mean,
throwing beers at you as you're leaving.
I know you are like huge UFC fans, so I definitely you saw my last fight. So everybody was insane, screaming against me. You know, I was in Brazil. Figueiredo is Brazilian. Chant. Everybody was against me, saying, "You're gonna die" in Portuguese. Vamos here.
That's what I never knew what it was, but I knew it was like, "You will die. You will die."
But man, and a lot of people asking me about that moment. Like, hey, how you feel? Like, I don't feel nothing.
Do you even hear anything?
I hear everything, but
you do?
But in my mind, I was repeating what they say, like, I was getting fun, man. I was getting fun, but my face was neutral, like, I don't care, man. And in the middle of the fight, I hear the people screaming against me again, but I was neutral, stoic.
So talk about that fight a little bit. In the second round, like he got you in a guillotine, and it was pretty tight. So, what was that like, kind of like burn moment in that guillotine? Like, did you like start to panic at all, or were you just staying calm? Like, well, was it close? Like, how tight was it?
No, man, that wasn't.
No, it wasn't tight.
Nah.
It wasn't tight.
I mean, it was tight, but I don't know, because I have a regular neck. You know, these fighters who like looks like they don't have neck like this. I have a regular neck and everything, but I always been like very good, escaping from guillotines. I don't know why. I'm always very calm in those positions, fighting my hands, breathing very well and everything. So yeah, for sure. In some point, the guy was trying to like pull my neck out, but I like you say, I was just trying to keep myself calm and stay relaxed and be patient. In that kind of positions, one of the keys is like be patient. Don't get like desperate, because if in the moment when you start to, it's when you are maybe out. So I just keep calm, and the guy take off the guillotine, take my neck out, and I start to put control on him. And man, that last fight, it isn't safe to think about it, because the first three ones, the fights were like crazy wars, right? Like exchanges, scrambles.
The first one.
My face looks horrible. His face looks horrible, and that's it. But in this fourth one, my mind was so calm, because I had an amazing training camp, and I want to say amazing training camp. Kind of, because I had a lot of troubles in the middle of the training camp, but I always put all my effort to pass all the obstacle on my way. And I have an amazing people around me, and we did it. And I think it was a kind of easy fight for me.
Easy fight. Is he strong? Is he strong, Davidson?
You know what? I mean, he's not stronger than me, but he punched harder than me. It's weird, because he looks like very muscular, but talking about the strength, talking about power, I know a lot of fighters who looks like very muscular, but they're not like really, really strong. I mean, like me, you can tell with my training partners or with my coaches, I'm look like terrible. My body is not like, I don't have like any abs. My biceps like very small, whatever. But the people say I'm very strong.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
So I don't care. So that's the thing. I'm stronger than him, but he punched harder than me. So I was needed to be like very careful about the right overhand every single time.
Oh, for sure. I don't think he's as hard as a puncher as you. I mean, in the second fight, you dropped him with a jab and then quickly got him into the rear naked choke and became the first Mexican-born champion.
Right.
Well, could you even sleep that night after you won the belt?
You know what? I can't sleep every single fight for the adrenaline.
Huh.
It's insane. It's hard to explain too, because you have a lot of emotions. So you wanna spend time with your people around. You are so happy. You are checking social media to watch all the news, the pictures, whatever. You are excited and you are happy. And no, I can't sleep after a fight unless in that one. You know, that moment was special. I remember that moment in Arizona, in Phenix, because first of all, I think it was the first event after, kind of after the pandemic. Not after the pandemic because the pandemic was there, but it was the first event with crowd.
Yeah.
Live crowd.
With
Yeah.
all this mess. So the people feels like excited, like, hey, I miss this feeling to be in the arena with a lot of people screaming, watching fights, live fights, right? And in the moment when I won, man, I promise I can explain.
Yeah.
And you know, Phoenix is a place with a lot of Mexican people. So I was like watching all the Mexican flags around, screaming my name, very excited. The people crying with me. Man, that was very nice.
I'll tell you what, I got goosebumps whenever you won. And whenever Joe Rogan was interviewing in there, I literally almost started crying watching you cry, and just like all this effort and being cut by the UFC to becoming a champion. I mean,
You know what? I mean, remember we were talking about targets and goals in my future? I mean, in that moment, got the title was my long-term goal, man. And I did it. I can't describe the feeling about, because when I went to the UFC the first time, my goal was like, okay, I need to fight here and win fights. Then I start to win fights. Okay, now I want to be in the top 10. I did it, actually. I did it, but then I lost 2 in a row. They caught me, whatever. But the goal was the same. Like, I want to be in the top 5. And in the moment when I touch the top 5, I say like, okay, now is the time to be the champion. But man, it's a long 10 years journey. Like fighting, sacrificing things, traveling a lot for training, leaving my wife with my daughter in that moment. A lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. But when you can say like, I did it, everything means a lot for me.
for sure.
Everything makes sense.